Ah,
Let's talk about some Ultraman.
specifically.
Let's talk about some.
What specific?
Let's talk about some Shin Ultraman. We
Ooh,
love our Shin Ultraman. The CGI shit.
it it's not the greatest. I don't hate it, but like it definitely is a little underwhelming. Um,
It's shit,
I also
Lucas.
do think
It's not just a bit
it.
underwhelming. It looks terrible. I also want to be clear that we are at least me. I am probably the worst person to talk about
Yeah,
Ultraman with because I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really like Ultraman, and not that it's like I don't like it. It's just I never watched it. I never wanted to watch it.
yeah,
I'll be honest. I still don't really want to watch it.
yeah. Because I mentioned it on the last one to everyone who wasn't here. Like I've been dipping my toes into the
Hmm.
Ultraverse, and the thing is, like, I just like naturally, I just like that style of hero. I've always just liked that archetype. So it's just to me, I'm able to easily gel with it and like get a little past some kind of flaw stuff. I've always just liked that kind of like heroic character.
Yeah. Well, sure. I've watched all of Ultra 7, all of Ultra Q,
Yeah,
and most of Ultraman Jack, aka The Return of Ultraman. That's it.
yeah,
Can I name any of the monsters? No.
yeah.
And I'm
I
just
know
it's
Bolton.
very clear that I'm just too old for it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if I was a kid, I probably would have dug the shit out of this. But when I was a kid, I didn't watch it.
yeah.
And I remember there was one Ultraman show on when I was a kid that would play on TV all the time. It was one of the newer ones.
I think I want to say because I can only really think of ones that aired here. It might have been Ultraman Tiga.
That's what.
There was a block on Fox Kids. It was called the Fox
Yes,
Box, which
never
became
mind. It
Four
was
Kids
Ultraman
TV.
Tiga.
It was Ultraman Tiga aired on
Yep,
that.
it was that.
I remember the whole fucking the whole intro fucking slaps. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I remember watching it.
Larger than life.
I remember watching it and being really on board with it. Being really on board with it.
Yeah.
However, I was young enough that I didn't know what a two-parter was. And so there was this one episode where it ends on a cliffhanger, and I was so
Yeah.
angry that I refused to watch it again. It looks just like Shin Godzilla,
Yeah, that was kind of my takeaway from it too. It just seems like it's gonna kind of do kind of the same formula as Shin Godzilla, but
except
it'll be kind of
yeah, I'm interested to see how they can take a man who transforms into a giant alien um, into something as serious as Shin Godzilla.
that's kind of my slight concern is maybe it might not do that, but at the same
I don't
time,
think it
it's
is. It is Hideaki Anno, and I do trust
yeah,
Hideaki Anno.
yeah. I oh yeah, of course,
Because
I do too.
FYI, I'm going to watch the fuck out of this just because Hideaki Anno is making it, or is I shouldn't say he's not directing it, but he wrote
He's
it.
producing.
He is producing
Oh, he
and
wrote
he
it.
wrote it. He
Yeah. Okay.
is, I think. Let me check. I'll double check right now, but I believe he's the sole
Yeah.
writer.
And I think he when he's on record saying like Ultraman was a big part of his upbringing and
Even
everything. So
slightly bigger than Godzilla.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So like I even
He
with,
wrote.
like
Hideaki Anno is the sole producer and he is the sole writer. So he's got two out of the three big ones in his name.
yes, because Adam, here's the whole takeaway with it. One, this is just a first initial trailer, and I'm
Yes.
not gonna like death sentence. I mean, I'm not gonna death sentence it out of the way. I'm excited for this movie. I'll
It's
be
not
straight to
yeah,
the point.
it's not just this is the initial trailer. It's a typical Japanese trailer where there's no
Yeah,
information in it
yeah,
at all and it's just
yeah.
music.
And the thing is, as you said before, it's Ano. I trust Ano. I
Oh yeah.
trust this person. Like
I literally
it,
in Ano I trust and I'm not even joking.
yeah, I trust Ano. Like, and I especially since this is such an important character to him, and he already did Godzilla justice. I'm ready to
Now
just
the
dive
good
into it.
news is with this is that with Shin Godzilla, Hideaki Anno was not a producer. It was one, two, three, four, five. It was five other people.
That's even better. That's kind of good too, because like,
So this might even be a little bit more risky.
but yeah, Shin Ultraman is. I feel like there's not too much to talk about it because like again, we just this is the first ever glimpse of it besides that one screenshot from a while back. But like, even like if the CG is kind of questionable, I'm looking forward to
Well,
it.
it's a lot more
It's
questionable than Shin Godzilla, but I can tell you what, Shin Godzilla.
wasn't Shin Godzilla mixed though?
No,
It was a mix
no, it
of
was
suit
pretty much all
and oh, I thought it
CGI.
was.
They had
Oh, all right, I
they
thought it
had
was.
a big prop. I'm not quite sure why. I think Shinji Higuchi just did not like the how the
Hmm.
animatronic was working. Toho has a history of having really bad animatronics. Look at Godzilla 1984, where they were going to use it a lot
Yeah.
and it couldn't do half of what they wanted it to do. I think that happened here. I'm
Hmm.
going to say this though. Shin Godzilla had the significant benefit of being a slow-moving, lumbering, upright CGI character, while in Ultraman they have to move around a lot,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
the premise of Ultraman is
It,
two kaiju's fighting.
yeah, they're fighting. It's gonna be like that's a good point. I actually did not think of that. That's a really good point that you brought
And
up.
I love the two monsters that they picked because they're both based on the Baragon suit.
Oh yeah, I was reading about that actually.
I
I
can't
was
remember
reading
what
about
the
that.
two are, but they were both
Yeah.
kaiju's where they repurposed the original Baragon suit.
Hmm.
Um, but knowing the fact that it's Hideaki Anno is two out of the three big ones, um, I think this is going to very much be a Hideaki Anno project. I really do, and
Yeah.
also him and Shinji Higuchi are like Biffles. They are literally best friends for life. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can even see Shinji Higuchi's influence on Evangelion in terms of its visual style, especially when the monsters are
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and I will say this though, I am worried about the directing because Shinji Higuchi has proven to me, with one exception, that he's not
Hmm.
the best live action director. He's a great special effects
Hmm.
guy, but he's not the best live action director. It's become clear to me that Hideaki Anno was the one that primarily directed most of the live action stuff in
Okay.
Shin Godzilla, or it was his fingerprints, I should say, on it. Um, but the movie people know Shinji Higuchi for the most in terms of him as a director are the two live action Attack on Titan movies.
Oh. Oh yeah, that happened.
Yes,
I
it
forgot that.
happened. And visually, I'm
Yeah.
like, they're okay. I'm glad that they didn't completely just copy the anime. They actually added their own
Yeah.
spin
Yeah.
on stuff. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Because I've
That
always
might work
found
in its favor.
the humor stuff in Shin Godzilla was really subtle and almost underplayed in many cases.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That I liked that. I like
yeah,
that about it.
yeah. I think the most over the top comical scene is when that one character finally connects the dots with something, and you just see him in the background go ah, and he grabs the
Yeah.
laptop and like runs over like
Yeah.
an excited
Yeah.
boy. I'm like, I think that's the most over the top that movie got. Um,
But I think also it earned it in that scene too, though. I think it's
it earned
earned.
it.
It's not
Yeah,
like
it earned it. The
yeah.
other one that just makes me laugh my ass off is the prime minister, who the acting prime minister, I should say, after the
Yeah.
real one dies. He sits down with the noodles and he's like, oh. Like all this shit is happening, and he finally gets to his dinner. Oh, they got soggy. Fuck.
I like a small thing in Shin Godzilla. I always kind of forget until it's brought to me, and it was brought to me recently. How there was like there's a point where it's going through like social media posts, and there's one poster whose profile picture is Asuka, and
Yeah.
like their tag is I think it translates to Baka Shinji, or it just says Baka Shinji on it or
Yeah,
something.
I did notice that. I didn't notice it on my first one. I
Yeah,
noticed you pointed it out to
yeah,
me, and so
yeah,
when I
yeah,
went to see it again, I noticed it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
little stuff like that that I think is funny. Ultraman doesn't need to be as subtle.
Nah, nah.
But that's just about all I could take away from it.
Same, same.
Looking forward to it. I mean, I
It's
look forward to
yeah.
anything Hideaki
I'm
Anno is doing.